Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. I'm so glad you're here. What's going on in the stock market? Well, we're having this run up, right? We broke back above the 50-day, and now the only question remains, are we going to get a new record high, or are we going to get a lower high, which would probably be followed by a lower low? If we can't bust to new record highs, this thing's going to come back in and make a lower low. Okay, that's just my take, but it's possible. It's possible the Moon Boys, they got it going on right now and they're running it back up. This is a topping out pattern, normal, perfectly normal, trying to get the little topping out pattern before we come down, but they could push it to a new record high. They could inflate it up higher. They could devalue the dollar. That's really what's going on here. The dollar's being devalued and all assets are rising. Everything's rising. You look at gold. Gold is just melting up right now. I think gold is going to reach 3,000 an ounce easy, and I think it's going to surpass that. Now, could it pull back before it reaches 3,000 an ounce? Absolutely. I'm hoping it does. I want to buy more. Maybe it'd come all the way back to 2,000, but 3,000 an ounce, I mean, that's still going to be relatively inexpensive. I mean, that's going to be a good buying opportunity because it will go much above that as we start to hyperinflate. And I think that's the direction they're pushing that in. Now they could all of a sudden do the right thing, right? They could balance the budget. That's a joke, by the way. No way they can balance it. They just cannot. Got two opposing parties going at politics, and there's no way they're going to get a balanced budget. They can't tax people enough to pay off the debt. So the debt's going to continue to inflate. Now, a lot of people say that I've been just crying wolf on my channel, right? I just come out here and I cry wolf. I tell you how bad everything is. I tell you the real estate market's going down by 40%. And they tell me, real estate market can only go higher. Stocks can only go higher. Everything can only go higher. You see, young people, that's all they've seen for the last 14, 16 years. It's just been a straight up market, right? No corrections. We haven't had a recession. Anytime we get close to a recession, they paper over it, right? They print trillions and trillions of dollars. And that's what the people don't see, the ones that think I'm just out here crying wolf. That's true. I understand the prices are still going up. It's really not that they're going up. It's that your dollar is losing purchasing power. Look at, go to the grocery store. 37% in the last 2 years. 37% on food. You see what inflation does? It just wipes out the middle class. It destroys the poor. But yeah, okay, I come out here, I'm crying wolf, right? I'm telling you, this thing's got to come down. It cannot sustain this, right? In the last, let's say, since 2008, right? We printed an extra $30 trillion. $30 trillion, right? Basically in 10 years, let's call it. In the next 10 years, we have to print 60 trillion because 30 trillion isn't going to get it done. So we have to print 60 trillion. Going to get more inflation, going to lead to hyperinflation. But Mike, we got the reserve currency. That could never happen in the U.S. We're a powerful nation. We're strong. We don't produce anything, do we? We produce dollars, right? And we send those dollars all out around the world. We export our inflation to the world. And that's been great, right? It's been working well for us boomers. Started doing that about 1980 and we just been going for it ever since, right? Okay, we just like to print money. That's what we're good at. But gold is going to take off. Gold is an undervalued asset. Now, where would I start to sell my gold? I'd start to sell my gold when it reaches 1-to-1 with the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That'd be a good time to sell my gold. But until then, I'm accumulating. I think gold's a great buy here. Silver's even better. Silver's a better buy. Where would I start to sell my silver? When it gets close to 500 ounces of silver is the same price as the average price home. Then it's time to sell my silver. Right now, it's the accumulation stage. These are two assets that are relatively cheap compared to everything else, right? All right, now let's start talking a little bit about the real estate market. I don't even know where to begin here. I'll begin with this article. Okay, this is a good one. 80% of Americans think it's a bad time to buy a house. That's fascinating, right? 80% think it's a bad time. Wonder what the other 20% think. Well, Maybe they're the illegal immigrants. Maybe they think it's a good time to buy because if they can get to California Governor Newsom, he'll give them the down payment to go buy with. So I don't know who the other 20% are. Maybe they're the cash buyers. Maybe people buying all cash think it's a good time to buy. I think it's a horrific time to buy. Look at the median home price compared to the median household income. Right now, it's approaching 8 to 1. Biggest bubble in the history of the world, right? 8 to 1. We've never been at 8 times. Not even in the last housing bubble. We were only about 6.5 times. And we're approaching 8 to 1. 8 times your household income to buy the average price home. That's ridiculous, unsustainable, not going to last. Yes, I'm crying wolf, right? Some people aren't going to get it. You can't help them. Look at people that say, I come out here and cry wolf. I get it. They don't know what's coming. Me and you, we know what's coming, but the people that think I'm just crying wolf, they really don't understand. Look at this is a big bubble we're in, and all bubbles throughout the history of the world get popped. Every single one. There's never been a bubble that is sustainable. And this housing bubble will also pop. Now it's popping in the commercial bubble. Let's talk about this for a second. All right, a 76,000 square foot office building. San Francisco, right? This was bought in 2019. They paid $86 million. Clarion Properties, $86 million, bought this high-rise tower 5 years ago. Okay, well, they got a $40 million loan. Okay, so they put $46 million down, got a $40 million loan. Well, they're having trouble collecting rent because there's nobody in the building anymore. So they can't pay off their loan. So what'd they do? Well, they gave it back to the holder of the loan, which was Nationwide Life Insurance. Nationwide Life Insurance, they had the mortgage on it, right? So they take it back. All right, so now they get into it for $40 million. What do they decide to do? Well, they decide to sell it. They sell it for $22 million. So it went from $86 million down to $22 million. Now, if you have $22 million, it's probably not a bad time to start nibbling at some of the opportunities in the commercial end of things, the commercial side. The commercial side has just been pummeled down about 75-80% in many areas. That's a pummeling. That is where the opportunity lies. Now, the housing market's still pretty close to where Billy Bob got at it. Now, if that comes down 40%, 50%, yes, there's going to be opportunities. Now, what's going to bring it down? It's going to be a little bit different. You see, the banking system is what's going to be falling this time. The banking system is going to topple over. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of banks are going to go out of business. Why? Because they hold this commercial paper that I was just talking about. Now, it's just not the banks. It's the pension funds. It's the life insurance. It's the insurance companies. You might have noticed your insurance bill. Did that go up any? Right? Okay, just on housing insurance, right? Up on average 30 to 60%. 1 year, 30 to 60%, depending on where you live in the country. Okay, well, that's a little bit more than the 2 or 3% inflation the government's telling us about. But now, why did it go up so much? It went up because they've lost your money. You see, insurance companies, just like banks, they take the money that you pay in premiums and they go and invest it. So when you have a claim, they can pay off the claim. Well, here's the thing. They went and invested it, right? Just like that company invested in that high-rise tower in San Francisco. They just took a 50% haircut, right? So they've lost 50% of your money already. They don't have the money to pay off the claims anymore. They have to raise the prices on insurance. 30 to 60% all across the nation. Car insurance skyrocketing. All insurance is going up, right? It's because they don't have the money. It's because this is what's going to happen to the banks. The banks are going to topple over. They took your deposits. They took your money that you bring in, and they're supposed to hold it safely for you. It's not safe in the bank anymore. Look at, they've lost 40 to 50% of your money already. Any bank that has a run on the bank is now going to go out of business. There's going to be hundreds of them. This year, it's still going to happen. I know there's only been one so far, but they just stopped that bank term funding program. And Then that's 1 month later, the first one went down. Pretty soon the second, then the third, fourth, fifth. And it's just going to be a domino effect as this continues on. Okay, now let's move on into the real estate housing market. All right, we talked a little about the commercial. Commercial, there is some opportunities. And there's going to be opportunities in the residential market. How do I know that? How do you know that, Tall Mike? Well, I know that because Dave Ramsey says to buy. Look at Barbara Cochran says to buy, right? What were they saying in 2007, 2008? They were screaming the best time ever to go out and buy. What happened? Houses came down by 34%. They would have come down more, but we started printing trillions and trillions of dollars to blow the bubble bigger, right? And so we've inflated our way up again. Okay, bigger bubble this time. We're going to come down by 40 or 50%. Ramsey out there screaming, great time to buy. Barbara Cochran out there screaming, great time to buy. Guess what? 3 out of every 100 homes right now is seriously underwater. Seriously underwater. Seriously underwater defined, they owe 25% more than the home is worth. 3 out of every 100 homes is underwater right now. But Mike, how could this happen? How's that possible? Well, here's what happened. All right, first of all, they overpaid. Second of all, they had this thing called forbearance, right? People stopped paying for 1, 2, up to 3 years, they stopped paying. Well, what'd they do? Well, the banks didn't care because they're going to tack it on to the end of the mortgage, right? They give them a whole new second mortgage. They don't make them pay it back. They tack it on. What does that do? It puts them underwater. Underwater right now. 3 out of every 100 homes, 3% of homes seriously underwater. They owe 25% more than the home's worth. Now, I know that's not possible in your area. Nobody even has a mortgage. We don't need to talk about your area. Your area only goes up. Your area is going to the moon. You got all the moon boys living there, and I get that. But okay, so we had the forbearance problem, right? Airbnb people went out and they overpaid. And now a lot of areas are saying you can't do Airbnb. Look, if you want to be in the hotel business, call up Hilton. They got a franchise for you, right? I mean, a home is not meant to be a hotel. I love Airbnb as a product. I've used Airbnb, but it's not what housing is meant to be. And this is what's happened. They've outlawed Airbnb in a lot of areas. So these people owe more on their homes than their home's worth, right? So when they were renting it out, they could make the payments on the short-term rentals. But now they can't do short-term rentals, so it doesn't cash flow. So now they're underwater. What are they going to do? The banks are starting to take them back. FHA loans, 11% delinquent. Delinquency rate is 11%. Don't worry, though. We talked about that government plan. They're putting it into effect. I can't believe it. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac going into the HELOC loans. HELOC loans are why people are already underwater. Have we learned nothing? Look, I've seen this movie before. You've seen this movie. It played out in 2008, but we didn't learn anything. We haven't learned a thing from it. We're going to roll out $1 trillion, $2 trillion in HELOC loans. Look, you can now borrow. Look, say you're 25% underwater. Say you don't have any money. That's okay. We're going to give you a HELOC loan. We're going to really bury you. We're going to make you 50% underwater. Why not? It's only government money, only money that me and you are responsible for, but they're rolling this program out, right? They're rolling it out. There's houses already, 3 out of 100 underwater. You wait till this rolls out. $1 trillion, $2 trillion coming into the marketplace in the form of HELOCs from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Very inflationary also. Look, they're trying to inflate their way out of this. They're trying to devalue the currency. That's their only way. That's their only chance. Devalue the currency, right? Let's say your home's worth $1 million. We'll cut the currency in half. Now it's worth $2 million, right? Because we just devalued the currency by that. Now gas is $12 a gallon. That's going to wake some people up. There's going to be some social unrest because we're really getting tired of this bailout. This $2 trillion going into the HELOC market, that's a bailout. Our neck's on the line again. The taxpayer, they're going to chop our neck off. We're going to have to bail them out again. It's because, Look at the inflation that's going to come from this extra 2 trillion. It's going to be incredible. Look at your utility bills going up, your insurance already up 60%, going to be going up 100%. Property taxes are going to be going up. Maybe they can make your home go up. Look at, I come out here and I cry wolf because there's something to cry about. And a lot of people see what's coming. Me and you, we see it now. Those people that say I cry wolf, they don't have a clue, and that's okay. That's okay. We can't help them. They're in their own little world. They got their head in the sand. Let them be. Just let them be. I'm just talking you and me. If you like this stuff, give me the thumbs up. Why not? Punch that subscribe button and get out there, everybody. It's the weekend. Have a great weekend. We'll talk again next week. Bye-bye now.